Hi there, Emmanuel Faith. My name's Ryan Paulson. I'm the lead pastor here, and it's so good to be back with you. And like I say every week, I'm just really grateful that you're taking the time to invest in a life group and dive into these sermons a little bit deeper and this series in general. I'm grateful that you're engaging it. So this last week, we talked about revision to our story. And I started the message by talking about the prominence of a meta-narrative, a way of understanding the world. And the way that the scriptures present us sort of a counter drama or a meta-narrative, a way to arrange our thoughts about who God is and who we are in light of what Jesus has done. And I really want to encourage you with your group to push into this whole idea that right now we live in a cultural moment that can be called postmodernity. And one of the main propositions of postmodernity is the rejection of a meta-narrative. So the whole idea that there's a story that transcends our individual stories is something that, as an individualistic society, we push back against. So I'd love for you to talk in your groups about how it lands on you that you're part of a bigger story. But then we went and we unpacked this idea that Paul presents in his letter to the Ephesians, that our story starts off, we're dead in our trespasses and sins, and that we're not people who are bad, we're people who are dead. We're not people who are improvement, who need improvement. We're people who need rescue. And those are very different things. And so really important in this text in Ephesians chapter 2, verses 1 through 3, is the reality that the reason we see so much brokenness and pain in our world is because of sin, number one, but specifically because of the world, the flesh, and the devil. And Paul goes into that, and we talked about it a little bit too. But there's also this good news, these two words, but God, that when we were at this moment of our most desperate need, God gave us his most precious gift, the gift of his very son, who would be motivated by love, who would make us alive. And then Paul says in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, that he would turn us into his poetry, his song, his masterpiece. And so at the very end of the message, we gave this encouragement. I'm going to read it here, twofold. One is the invitation to surrender to grace. And by that I mean to really embrace what Paul says, that you can't save yourself. This isn't because of good works, that we are dead, and that Jesus is inviting us by faith to be made alive in him. And secondly, after that we'd surrender to grace, that we would seek our good, seek the good that God has prepared in advance for us to walk into. So here's what I would encourage you to do with your group. Number one, I'd love for you to talk about your favorite movie that you've ever seen and why you love that story. And then I'd love for you to talk about the way that the gospel presents a way of understanding the world, or a meta-narrative. And then finally, if you could, put language to, or maybe one sentence, to the way that you feel like God's created you and the good and the love that he's calling you uniquely to bring to his world. After all, you're a poema, you're a poetry, a masterpiece, a song, God's song, the way that he's writing his love and bringing his presence to his world. So have a good time talking about those things, and I'll be praying for you and grateful that you're investing in this. God bless.